Here, I'm taking a picture of the screen, so
Oh yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
here, cause
Oh, look at
I'm
this
gonna
light, and
post it. So
I
hold on.
wonder if there's a way. Alright, hello everyone. We're using different software now, so bear with us.
Are we live?
Well, we're live right now. Yeah, 100%.
Hey, let me pull it up so I can see the chat.
Yeah.
The chat on screen.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on screen, so try typing something in and see what happens. If nothing happens, then I fucked up.
Give it a couple minutes before we do our intro. Oh, I got an ad. Supporting the stream. Support the stream.
Support
Watch
the stream.
watch this ad that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah,
The Alienware computer is the best computer money can buy.
because when winning is determined by milliseconds, everything
Yo, that one.
counts.
Everything
He, no, it's not
counts.
even. It's just this one. It's that one kid. It's just everything counts.
Oh yeah. Yo, he probably scrape you at CS:GO or some shit
I
like
don't
that.
give a fuck. He still
Bro,
look dumb as hell.
he look. Yeah,
Uh,
he's probably like a fucking patriot,
Oh,
bro.
it's on screen. Yeah, looks good, and it's actually not a bad delay. It's like only a few seconds.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to a couple milliseconds. Okay. Sorry, I tried
That's
my
okay.
best.
Listen, you tried your best, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank the Lord someone does.
All right, so Rainy, you want to bring us in on an intro, or should we wait a couple more minutes?
We can
sorry,
wait
give me
some
one
time.
second. I'm posting it.
He's
All right,
posting.
bet. I should do that too.
Hey, just posting this. I tagged you guys so you could just retweet the tweet I made.
Retweet the tweet. Retweet the tweet.
Oh,
Perfect.
and
Okay.
Retweet the
Oh,
tweet.
let me just grab these topics real quick. Wait, did my fucking thing just die? Oh, come on. Yeah, it did. All right, that's fine. This thing doesn't fucking last at all
wait,
anymore.
what died?
This. It doesn't make much of a difference. It's my light. It's pretty subtle, but
Yeah, boy, let me
uh,
know if the stream is like lagging for you or not. Because I don't know, for some reason it never wants to load for me on the Twitch app.
No, it looks good for me. Everything's fine.
Everyone's moving normal.
Yeah, everyone's moving normal. It's fine. Yeah,
That font is killing me right now. My
you can
shit
hear
like,
us all twice, which is not distracting at all.
sorry. Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys
oh
in
yeah,
on
you gotta mute
topics.
this shit. I mean, you don't have to mute it.
Um.
I mean, you do whatever you want, boy. I'm
Okay.
not your father,
So, all
just your
right.
friend.
So let me know when to go.
Alright.
Whenever
And
you're ready.
intro this shit. Yeah, yeah. Are we? Wait, we're live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hold on. So let me pull up the.
We've been live
Let me
for
pull
2
up the
minutes and
chat. Sorry.
56 seconds.
If you just pull up the stream, it comes on screen.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm finna do right now. Gonna go on our channel. Was okay. No, just go to the channel. Just go to the channel. Excellent.
Oh shit, it takes like a millisecond, boy. You fucking bugging. It's not a few
That's what I'm saying.
seconds.
No,
It's
it's
mad
good. I didn't
fast.
say 40 seconds.
Cool.
Fast. You
Yo,
said a
honestly,
few.
I really like this. Like this simplified like layout and shit. I like this a lot.
I want smoke or something in the
I mean, I
It's
background.
think
not 420 no more.
yeah,
I
honestly, I think
know.
this is
I'll
fine.
take anything in the background.
This is fine, bro.
Like I like that weird space shit that Leo got. I could probably find that shit right now.
Ladies and Frank, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Ladies
Ladies
and
and
friend.
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen it here first. You've seen it here live. My son Griffin is crawling.
Oh, is he crawling?
Yo,
Can you see him?
he crawling. He crawling right towards the
Hey.
door
Hold
too.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Can you see
Yo,
him?
what's good, Mel?
He's fucking crawling.
Wow. First
Bro,
time?
Yes.
bro, this
Oh.
quarantine got everybody bugging out. Even this baby that's
Look,
never crawled before is running
look.
towards the
He
door.
said, yeah, he said, I'm so sick of being inside. Let me out. That's why
Let me
he's
get
like
out of here.
he's like I learned to crawl specifically to get the fuck out this house. By the way,
Wow.
he is not alone over there.
Wait,
His mom is right there. So, just so you know, I don't have my son crawling around the place by himself while I'm on the internet.
I mean,
we gotta clip that, yo. Godric's first crawl. Excuse me, Griffin's first crawl.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
And now you have
Well,
it forever.
I'll
I'm gonna
clip
make
that
voice
later.
ad load.
that's a great moment. This is this is. Look at him. Oh my God. He's
Damn.
he's really like he's going for it for real. He wants the ball. Wow. That's wow. Okay. Try not to cry. All right. So
This dude crying on stream.
Oh, hey, what up, Boricua Life? And Sasha, my youngest son just crawled for the first time live on stream, so uh,
We're having a
that's
moment.
that's really cool. But so I'm gonna so now there's a couple people here, I'm gonna intro the topics. So it's gonna be short and sweet this time around. It's just the three of us, humble little squad. But uh, these two guys, Bojack and Ronnie, curated this particular set of topics. So we're talking about low tier God and CeroBlast, racism and transphobia in the FGC and how it's addressed. Supermassive has a new horror game coming out called Little Hope, starring the really annoying kid from Midsummer, and I think he was in Shameless. I don't know. Anyway, that one kid with the weird mouth. Uh, are those games scary? Hold on, the cops is somewhere.
Sorry, that's my side. Yeah,
It's
I'm in the
high.
hood.
It's high.
That
Don't
happens
worry
to
about
boy
it,
a
Brad.
lot.
So Supermassive has a new horror game coming out called Little Hope, starring that weird-looking kid from Midsummer and possibly Shameless. And speed running and let's plays. Do they hurt a game's sales, or is it its own art form? Does it have its own audience and its own niche kind of thing? And art style in fighting games and its importance. Uh, sprite work versus 3D versus, like, 2D realistic animation, stuff like that. So it's gonna start off pretty heavy and then get lighter as we go down. Figured that'd be the best way to do it and not end on a negative note. So yeah, um, does anybody want to bring us up to speed on on the first topic on LTG and CeroBlast and everything? Um, Basically give a rundown of what exactly happened and what's going on.
Uh, I can kind of be brief. I mean, I personally the the sentiment and the stuff behind the topic is what's more important to me. I personally don't like giving either of these people any type of like reason for anyone to even Google them. Like I don't think they deserve it personally, but it's what happened is what's really important. And I think that basically to sum it all up really quickly, low tier God is a person in the FGC who's known for kind of being an asshole. That's kind of like it's been said that it's like a persona he plays where he's just really like out there and kind of a jerk on purpose.
Yeah,
And they were running sets with someone named Sarah Blast, who is a another member of the FGC. If I'm not mistaken, they are they them and non-binary. And basically, they were playing sets. Low tier guy was getting scraped. He decided to rage quit mid set and just on his stream just started saying some outlandish transphobic stuff for like a couple minutes, was just kind of rolling on like a bunch of crazy things to say about trans people, which caused a lot of backlash, and which rightfully so. A lot of people were just like wilding out on him because I mean, this isn't the first time he's said things like that or just been wild in general, but it kind of got like really, really like it was some pretty crazy things to say, even just outside of the whole fighting game aspect of it. It was just outlandish, but once that happened, of course, there are LTG supporters who was defending him and defending the character that he plays, so to speak. And they started doing some digging on CeroBlast and found that CeroBlast in the past has made racist comments and used the N word before. CeroBlast is not black by any means. And they have basically in the past said some pretty racist stuff, which was about over a year ago, and it was mostly overlooked. And once the LTG supporters brought it into the light, a lot of people were like, "Well, this person's kind of not like a good person either." So it struck a lot of conversation from a lot of FGC members, especially members in the Tekken and Street Fighter communities, to kind of have conversation on both their interaction and how that played out, but also just the transphobia and the racism behind it, and how a lot of times when it comes to racism, especially toward black people, it's mostly underlooked. It gets kind of brought up and then it just gets swept under the rug. And this is stuff that, usually ends up coming back out a year or so later. And I guess for us, we just kind of wanted to bring it up because it's just something that if it's not spoken about, it will get swept under the rug and people will forget about it. So it's kind of important, I think, for us to just address these things and have conversation on the topics, just because it's otherwise it'll just be another thing that's just part of the community, you know.
Yeah. Well, what Ronnie put a video in the group chat a while ago, not a while ago, like yesterday, last night or something, or the night before.
2 nights ago, I think.
Who's that Tekken streamer that you sent us?
K-Wis.
Yeah, K Wiss, who's really good Horang. And like the fact that he can play that character and have a whole like political politically
Yeah.
charged conversation
Bro,
on
At the
stream and
same
like
I can't even
time.
look at the camera and talk. I'm just like, yeah, so this
and still
this guy.
body people the way he was doing it, like that's pretty impressive. Shout out to K Wiz for that. But yeah, so to provide context for him, I watched the whole video, Ronnie. I watched the entire just to have a frame of reference. He's a UK streamer, Tekken player. He's black, like very very visibly black, and I say that because I am black, but to certain people, the nuances of race don't register to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like I have cousins who are darker than me that are like, oh yeah, we're not black, you know, and it's like, how the fuck does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like,
feel that.
but this guy K Wiss, like he walks into a room, like he's dark skinned, he has locks, you know what I mean? Like as like he's visibly like that's a black man, you know what I mean? Like there's no ifs ands or buts about it. He's from the UK, and he's basically my whole frame of reference for this, and he was absolutely right, I think, on like every front, like
Right. Well,
the same
what
way
was
with
he saying? I don't. I
he was
watched the
just
video, but
he was just like fuck them both, you know,
right.
because like LTG's fan base or whatever was coming to his rescue, like, oh well, you know, CeroBlast said this and no one cared, and then CeroBlast herself or CeroBlast themselves was like, oh well, you know, I grew up in New York and I've always been saying it, and you know, it's not obviously it's not like it's not a word I should be saying, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna try and change that. For
Right.
what it's worth, and then K Wiss was like, fuck them both, right? That's fair. You know what I mean? As a black man, like you are absolutely in your right to say fuck anybody who says a word they should not be saying, and like you know what I mean, and takes that shit lightly. So like you don't have to forgive everybody. You know what I mean? So
Right.
he's well within his right to do that and react that way and have that opinion. But for I mean, for what it's worth though, at least Cero was coming from a place of like acknowledgement and being like, okay, well, you know, like it wasn't it wasn't the regular reaction that I see, which is, oh come on, that was a year ago. I'm not like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah. No, that's
at
true.
least Cero acknowledged that like, oh yeah, this was wrong and I'm gonna try to change, you know what I mean, my behavior.
Yeah. I mean, some of
But
that
I don't
can
but
know.
kind
K
of be
was
seen
I
as
think
damage control, you know.
I think they
yeah,
both
yeah.
suck.
Well yeah, that was K
But
Wish's
like,
whole point. That like they're
I
both
don't know.
trash and they don't deserve attention,
I don't know
even
who the
though
CeroBlast person is, but like from everything I've seen, like I don't really look at like something someone types up, but someone does like clip a stream or like says anything, then like I'll watch it just to see this person's point of view. And I don't know this the way this person. Oh crap! You gotta be careful with dropping your phone on your keyboard while you're streaming. Okay. I don't know. I mean, the person doesn't seem like I don't know. I feel like a lot of times you hear the "oh, I'm sorry," blah 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 blah. I didn't mean to say that, which is what this person said. But also like there's like a stream clip of the Sarah Blast saying that like the fault is on the black community and like the black
Right.
community is at fault and like it's up to the black community to like
Change this basically.
tell
Yeah.
people not to say it or something like that. And like I don't know, it just seemed like I don't know, it was a weird take. Like it was a
well
weird thing
I
to
mean
say.
it's not like it's not completely without I don't think Cero's the person to be saying that, but it's not completely without merit because if like I said this in the group chat like over text or whatever, I was like, okay, well, you know, if put the shit into perspective, like if you grew up saying something around the people that should be telling you that you shouldn't say this and they don't say anything, you're going to feel validated in saying that. You know what I mean? Like how like I know I listen, I know and I went to school with quite a few, you know what I'm saying, like dark skinned brothers and shit that fucking that had white girlfriends, you know what I mean? Went to the same
Right.
school and everything and just let that shit rock, you know? If like it, again, Cero had a point, but it's not Cero's point to make.
To make, yeah, yeah,
You know what I
I know what
mean?
you mean.
So like coming out of your mouth it doesn't make sense, but the point stands where it's like, okay, well, if you're around people who use the word colloquially, whose right it is to use the word colloquially, and you say it, and they don't check you on it, then I mean, you shouldn't say it at all in the first place. But if you're around the people who should check you for saying it and they don't, you feel validated in saying that shit. And like, it's been said a million times in a million circles where it's like, the whole where you grew up thing doesn't matter per se, but me personally, man, like in New York is the biggest fucking melting pot on the planet. And
Right.
if you're from a particular part of New York or whatever, and you're around a particular part of people and like you're in low income neighborhoods and you do this, like this is the thing people got to understand, man. Not everybody, like nobody's born woke. Some people don't ever wise up. You know what I mean? Some people it's the mentality of a lot of people that like, okay, well, you're in the same, like we're in the same building. We both live on 174 and Vice. You know what I mean? Like we're both in the same position. Like
Hmm.
we're the same. Like it don't mean that coming from you because you're in my position. And
Right.
that's like a lot of the nuance that people don't care to make the room for, which is okay. Again, like I'm not gonna sit here and tell any black person they're wrong for feeling any kind of way about anything regarding that word. However, I'm gonna address the nuances surrounding that and why somebody might feel okay being like, oh well, I grew up here, and you know what I mean. If these people didn't tell me it was wrong to say this, you know what I mean, then who is? You know? And I think
Right.
that can get confusing, especially for people who like mean quote mean well unquote saying it, you know what I mean? And that's
Right.
why like I don't or I at least try to minimize my like my use of it because
Yeah.
fucking because like to certain people I'm black, to other people I'm not, and I just don't feel like defending my I don't feel like putting my blackness on trial every single fucking day just for using a word. Like I consider myself black whether I get to say or whether I say it or not. Like I'm black
Right.
no matter what. So it's much easier to just omit that word from my vocabulary, me personally. But I
Yeah.
do understand Cero to some extent.
I think it's more of like for me, it's nobody's gonna try and take away where you're from. Nobody's ever gonna try and change where you grew up, especially like the perspective that we have. We're here in the hood. Like bro, I'm deep in the hood. Like
Yeah,
I'm in the fucking epicenter of the Bronx, and it's like grew up here. I've the word and the culture has been in my life my whole damn life. So it's like for me, it just becomes more of a thing of like uh professional versus unprofessional. I feel like if
yeah,
you're no matter what, no matter how you grow up, if you're in a setting where you're trying to like, especially like a tournament or anything like that, especially like FGC related, like you want to kind of conduct yourself in a way, no matter who you are, where you're from, that if you feel like you're gonna cause an uncomfortable environment for the people around you, whether you agree with the fact that they're uncomfortable or not is not your point. You just need to kind of
yeah,
make it a safe space for everyone. So
yeah,
if somebody's
yeah,
there and they're gonna feel some type of way about it, you know, you should you should want to make it more comfortable for them rather than try to like argue a point. So it's like for me, whether I use the word or not is irrelevant because when I'm in a specific setting, like a tournament setting, like playing online with FGC members, if we're doing online tournaments, anything like that, and there's mics involved, I'm gonna refrain from being any way other than professional, courteous, and inviting to all peoples of all walks of life. And it's like, a lot of times it becomes an argument of like, well, he was on his stream, he could say whatever he wants, and that's fine. You can. It's your stream, it's your community. Nobody's gonna sit here and try and tell you how to run your business because at the end of the day, that's your business.
yeah,
But you have to understand that you're on the internet. You're anybody, especially with Twitch, you can just easily be clipped, and this one part of your stream will become the whole stream. It'll be taken however it's going to be taken by the community. So it's like
yeah,
I think one of the main reasons that we wanted to bring it up is just because it was like a lot of people felt like the attention was being brought to this because it was directed toward somebody who's non-binary or trans member, and basically a lot of the African American community in the fighting game community was basically just like, hey, so this is something that we bring up to you guys all the time, and no one does anything about it. But because now it's like a trans member or somebody non-binary who's experiencing, the same type of discrimination,
Yeah.
it gets put on blast so much faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that that's LTG's brand. So because it was Cero that clipped it and uploaded it themselves, that's why it got the attention that it got. But LTG has been banned from Twitch. He's been banned from Twitter, I believe. The the only place he's allowed to stream still is YouTube. That's where he does his streaming now.
Yeah.
Um and um I think that like, and by the way, I don't know CeroBlast, right? I'm not white knighting for
I don't know
Cero.
either of
Like
these people.
I don't fucking like I don't know LTG, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to make points here, but like I think the argument of, oh well, people don't care until this happens is like, yeah, that's like human nature, you know what I mean? Like in general, like no one is so altruistic that they care about everything all the time always. It's not realistic. You only in general, you only really give a shit about stuff until you don't really give a shit about stuff until it affects you or people around you, right? Like
Right.
it wasn't until very recently that I started hanging out with, like, people who identified as like not cis hetero people, like trans people and shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like there's a lot of shit that I didn't even fucking think about. You know what I mean? And it's not okay that I didn't think about it, but it's also not okay that I didn't think about it, because how the fuck was I gonna draw these conclusions before I was around these people? You know what I mean? Like how was I supposed to know that, like, it's almost impossible to get for trans people to get anything notarized because of discrimination, and when they want to get name changes and shit like that, like it's fucking next to impossible. You know what I mean? And like that's not something you think about as a cisgender hetero person, because if I wanted to get some shit notarized or whatever, I don't identify any differently than what I am, so it's not going to be a issue to me. That's not something I thought about until a trans person in my social circle
I
brought
brought
that
it up
shit
to you.
up and was
Right.
like, yo, it's like, yo, get your fucking notary license and notarize shit for some trans people. You know what I mean? Like it's the little things that matter. I'm like, and literally in their face, I was like, oh fuck, I didn't even think about that shit. You know what I mean? Like
No, sure. I mean,
that's really
ignorance is
important, you know?
not some ignorance is truly innocent. Where it's like, oh, how were we supposed to learn something that wasn't taught to us? But it's like,
Yeah,
I think once you learn these things and you're presented with new perspectives, and you still decide to behave a certain way, or you still decide to have a certain kind of way of being,
yeah,
knowing
totally.
that it negatively affects a certain demographic, that's where it kind of course, becomes a
Yeah.
problem.
Somebody
But I
said,
think it was.
no, go ahead, read the chat real quick.
No, yeah, Veil. Veil was basically like the main issue that it's a decade of toxicity equal to Cero's actions, and both of them got the same punishment. Yeah, they both got banned from Capcom events. Like neither of them could go to any Capcom events anymore.
So
Which
what's the argument there? What's
let's see
the
if they
like
can
what's like
elaborate.
as far as the issue, what's the like what would you do differently, right? Because neither one, no matter how long it's been going on, neither one is okay, you know? So I like it's a weird thing to, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ronnie's been pretty quiet. I kind of want to hear
Yeah,
what he
Ronnie,
has to
how do you
say about
feel
all this
about
shit.
this?
I don't know, man. I think they both suck. I think
No, that's
I think
that's like
people.
kind of agreed.
I think that's a general consensus here.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people like. I wish it was anyone other than LTG. Like, cause I'm just done with him. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
done with him. I think everyone should be done with him. I know he has his supporters, which is fine. It's just like he really be coming at people for all the wrong things, right? And like honest,
He's that one friend, like y'all be cutting ass innocently, right? And then he'd be like, that's why your mother got lymphoma. And it's like,
yeah, you'd be like,
yo,
bro,
why do you
Damn.
have like, yeah, like Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah.
you know,
Now continuing.
I don't know, man. I think they were both problems. I think I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of shit going on in the FGC. There's a lot of shit going on like on Twitch and shit. TikTok. There's like a lot of like I don't know. There's not a lot of places for people of color, you know.
Nah,
And I
say
feel
black
like
people. Say black people, because it's not the same, and people say that shit interchangeably, and this like this TikTok shit is disproportionately affecting black people. Like
okay,
this
so
Cero
TikTok should
situation
yeah
straight up black people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I always try to see people of color because I think of like like technically like the Spanish community goes through their own shit.
Yeah,
But
but
it's the black
this is very
community
yeah
specifically that's like going through this, and like especially in the FGC, it's like every time they've brought up issues like this, like I was saying before, it just gets on like overlooked, and it's just like, oh, okay, that person's a piece of shit. Like in the video that Ronnie showed, he kept talking about this one dude. I don't remember his name,
I
but
forgot the
he he,
dude's name.
he
Yeah,
kept bringing up this one
oh the Phantom.
the Phantom, yes. He kept bringing up the Phantom, and he was like that the Phantom has deliberately used the N word in multiple ways and has said some outlandish shit. And like they got their sponsorship dropped as soon as they did it the first time, but then got a new sponsorship within a week. And it was like life just kept kind of going. And
Yeah,
it's like when this whole LTG Cero thing happened, it was like we as a FGC community we have like not allowed it to just keep going. We keep bringing it up, and it's important. But I think the reason why it's so important to a lot of people is because it's directly affecting someone in the LGBTQ community, where I feel like that's where the black community is basically like, hey guys, so like we feel you, we're with you, we support you. This is like terrible, but at the same time we
this
have been
other
trying to
thing.
get this we've been trying to get
Yeah.
this going for us for years, and you guys just like say it, and then it's like it don't even matter no more. So it's like is
yeah.
it more important now because some of the LGBTQ community is white? Is that why it's being like taken more seriously? I feel like you know a lot of people might feel like, oh, basically because there's white people in this community that's being negatively affected, there's more white people outraged, so it's getting more attention versus like when the black community does it, there's it's just fucking crickets.
Yeah, and
And
Vale said, well, infiltration isn't banned, so how is this stuff measured? And that's a whole
right,
different can of
that's a
worms.
Yeah,
that's a point.
but
It's like
there's
Yeah,
what's
no
the scale here, and like who's making these kind of
the
decisions? Should
the
it be a one ban for all types of things, or like
yeah, the thing is
I
the
don't know.
FGC is made up from like all these different
it's
things. Like,
worldwide, dude.
like there's
Yeah.
Capcom Cup and then there's shit like us, It's
Yeah,
like we could choose to ban this one person, but like that doesn't affect every other venue in New York, doesn't affect every other venue in the country or any like
yeah,
world tournaments, right? So it's just like this
yeah,
idea of like how I don't know, I just think the FGC is very like makeshift, like a lot of moving parts, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. And then it's like that guy, the Phantom dude, like he got sponsored by this other sponsor, right? Like
hmm
less than a week afterwards, right? And that sponsor seems like they were known to not like not really care if
Right.
someone says some racist shit, right?
Hmm.
And then it's like who's gonna hold them accountable? We don't have like a FGC UN or whatever the fuck, if
yeah.
it's anyone's game.
There's no global, like the standard isn't global. It's a very scene by scene basis. You know what I mean? Like for us in particular, like Hearst Boys or whatever, we're not like it goes without saying that at our venue, in our streams, at our tournaments, whatever, like we not finna tolerate none of that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's Hearst Boys, and we're very small time compared. Well, as of right now, you know what I'm saying? We finna get
Hmm.
the bag, but we're not gonna falter in our things, and I think a lot of other smaller organizations are headed in the right direction. But as of right now, there's no global standard of like there's no FGC HR. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
Yeah.
then it's
Hmm.
like who would take that mantle, right? It's either we keep it within the community, and the community all decides like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This person's banned from this, right? And then everyone just follows suit, or like there's some sort of like organization when it comes to that. Um, or like developers and publishers take advantage of it. So and Capcom Cup will decide like exactly what happens, and then they'll decide who's allowed into locals, or like Bandai Namco or some shit, or um
Hey,
Brock's here, everyone.
is that
Sorry, keep going.
dog?
It's
or
Dog.
like
Yeah, HB Dog, as
HB dog
everyone knows him.
bark
But
bark.
yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, so it's
Sorry.
like who like is either we keep it within the community, or like ESPN comes in and then they start drafting people, and then like it becomes that like kind of official thing.
Yeah.
Um I just think as a community and as community like organizers within the community, they really need to step up and like
I just,
really listen to what
Yeah.
these people are saying and like have a no tolerance rule for it, you know? I think a lot of
yeah,
times it's cool to be like, oh yeah, this person's really good, so we're gonna like invite them back or whatever. But it's like, oh, that person could be good at the game, but if they're like a horrible human being, then
Yeah.
like, do you
Yeah,
really
yeah,
oh,
and
want them
that's the
back?
that's
infiltration.
the thing.
The
Yeah,
infiltration. That's like number one right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
exactly. That's the thing, and
like,
that's the thing with Hearst Boys too. It's like I don't give a fuck who's the best. It's like I know that these 9 other dudes are solid. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I think like
There's always more
I
players.
just know these, yeah, I know these guys to be solid dudes. You know what I'm saying? And like
sorry, I just unmuted them.
I'd much rather have like good people around me than you know what I mean, than the best player in the world who is a fucking chore to be around and the worst person ever. You know, like it's an ethics thing. It's like, okay, do you want to be ethical? Do you want to move correctly, or do you want to make money? You know what I mean? And like a lot of people choose the bread over being good people, and like that's like not okay. But
I
yeah,
think
I
it's
think
important
it's
for us to just keep talking about it. You know, like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
that's one of the ways that it kind of moves in the right direction.
yeah,
If
for
as
sure. And
everybody
also
keeps having the conversation, then
Why is he just standing there by me?
yeah, I see him right.
Like,
also I say this all the time, atonement is not supposed to be easy. So if Cero is truly, first of all, LTG is never going to apologize for anything.
yeah.
And so fuck him, and whoever does chooses not to ban him for whatever reason, just fuck him. But but I think with Cero, I think atonement, if Cero really does feel, you know, feel like remorseful or whatever, then 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 we should keep talking about this, and Cero should never be allowed to forget it, and Cero should respond with, "Oh my God, yes, Darling is here. What's good, baby?
No,
Yes, sorry."
I'm gonna say Zero not allowed to any events
No,
from
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Like,
saying. But if Cero is truly like, if they are truly remorseful, then they should never be allowed to forget the hurtful shit they said, and they should respond the same way every time because
yo, so what am I?
atonement is not supposed to be easy.
So how do we
Right,
do
I
that? They
agree.
pull up to locals and then we just spit on them and they can't do anything? Like,
No, no, not well, not literally spit on, but just be like, just like I don't know, like
yo,
let's say if
remember
Sarah,
that?
yeah, like if Sarah was at an event and like you, Ronnie, was like, yeah, I don't like that shit you said, then it's Sarah's responsibility, no matter how many times it takes, because again, atonement's not supposed to be easy. No matter how many times it takes to be like, yeah, I'm really sorry about that shit. It was really stupid of me. Like I'm sorry. And then you, right, as the offended party, it's your it's your right to be like, yeah, that's okay, or be like, nah, I'm still not okay with this. You know
Okay,
what I mean? Like that's how that would work. In
Right.
my head, that's like the best way to go about it. In my
I
head,
hear you. I
I
want to
mean,
go
that's
on a side
something.
tangent real quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a new Switch in my house. It just came in the mail. I just want to talk about how cute this Switch is.
Wait,
Look
what are you
at
talking
how
about?
tiny this Switch is.
Oh,
Look
oh,
at
like a
how
switch.
tiny
Oh,
it
I
is.
thought you meant
It's so
Yeah, I thought
I
you meant
thought you
like a
small.
meant the Switch
switch.
Lite.
Nah, it's just super small, and I'm kind
That's
of in
him.
love with it right now.
Yeah,
That's
but yeah. So we've spent a while on that topic, so we don't
yeah.
have as much time for the others. But let's is everybody ready to move on to
Yeah,
the
I
next
let's
thing?
go
what's
to
the next
the.
one?
You want to talk about speed running?
No, let's do the. Oh, okay. I mean, whatever you got. Like Supermassive. The only thing is, I don't know much about. I haven't even seen the trailer. All I know is that the weird kid from Midsummer's in it.
I mean, it's not more like it's not so much about the game because I know it's like a sequel or like a prequel to another one of their games. It's just
Mang
like
of Medang.
Basically, they're making their third Until Dawn, and we
yeah.
want to know, like, are they gonna keep making Until Dawn copies, and
Do
are they
y'all
ever
like
gonna
that
make them
those
actually
games?
scary? You know,
Because they're not scary.
they're
Like I
just
played
jump
Until
scares.
Dawn and I wasn't like it was fun and like I did jump a couple times, but it wasn't like scary, you know? And I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know if it's like the gameplay formula. Like I remember being scared playing like PT or
It's
like Resident Evil 2 remake even scared the shit out of me because I was like fucking like that like sense of like urgency like that's just scary as fuck.
the thing is like I'm not afraid of stings. Do you know what a sting is?
What's this thing?
It's like a loud noise
Yeah,
and
when
music
an
and
audio a musical sting is when something happens and it's joined by a piece of music because that event in real life would not make a noise. So like,
Yeah.
let's say if somebody in a movie grabs a character by the shoulder, that doesn't make a noise. So they would go, "Hing!" You know what I mean? And then the crowd would jump. That shit doesn't scare me. It's so corny and I hate it. But what's really scary is when the event itself makes the noise. That's why Resident Evil 2 is so scary, because the zombies are making the noise. You know what I mean? Mr. X is making the noise. You know, so it's so that I think that's what's scarier to me when like in a movie, if a plate falls off the table abruptly, the crashing sound could be mastered super high compared to everything else, and it's like, holy shit, fuck, like
Yeah.
that's a genuine scare, as opposed to touching somebody and it fucking, you know what I
Can
mean?
you get this dude a chair?
I, yo, there's plenty of room on the couch. He's just being.
No, just get him a chair so he can sit next to you. He's
Oh
right next
yeah,
to
well
you.
I mean I have my headset on. I don't. Hold on.
No
No, it's
problem.
Um,
okay. He's just standing there. He literally waiting to get selected
no,
in the character select
Ronnie was
screen.
like, "Can you get him a chair to sit next to you and shit?" I don't. Can I wait?
He
I
looked
I
like,
can't have two headsets in at the same time,
yeah,
right?
why not? I mean, probably not through Discord. I mean,
Not through Discord. Let
Probably
me
not. I'm
see
not
here.
finna attempt that shit right now live.
no, you can't. But
But
what you could do is stretch
no,
them out far enough where his head and your head are both together.
yeah. I know
I
what it
think
looks like
with
we're matching, but I promise you this was super unintentional.
Bro, I'm gonna put
Um,
on a white tee.
yeah.
I got like
about
a
to throw on a
towel.
white tee too. Now, but back to the topic of the games. I feel like I was the reason why we wanted to even bring it up is because we were like, okay, watching the trailer, it's a part two and it's set as a prequel to this other game they released last year, and both of those games look like Until Dawn clones, just with different actors and like a different plot.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, okay, like obviously Until Dawn did really well. We know that for a fact. It sold really well. It got a really high like reception, and it was because it was kind of uh, a fresh take on a type of horror game or thriller game. So I think a lot of people got it, and like I bought that game, I beat the crap out of it, and
Yeah,
like I,
I got the
I
platinum.
still, yeah, despite me playing it as much as I did, I still can't say that it was an inherently good scary game. You know, I just
Yeah,
think it was a fun game, and
Yeah.
the fact that you could go back and get different endings or different things, like that was what made it kind of cool. But like I never once was really scared during it, and I was looking at the trailer to this next game, which I'm gonna throw in the chat if anybody wants to watch it later. But
it
like
looks
it looks like a good game. It looks like it has a nice
looks like a
story,
better
I
movie,
guess.
honestly.
But like I feel like these games um they get they get brought up in the topic of horror games, and I feel like they should just be more in the topic of like a party game to me. It feels more like a game you play when you have people in the crib and I just want to yell at the screen while you're
Yeah,
making
make decisions.
decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that was
don't
one
move
of
the
the most fun
controller
parts
and
for it for
shit.
us.
Yeah, that was the funniest part. Like, don't move
We
the
used to get
controller, and like, and you hit the
yeah,
person, and they fucking
Yeah.
getting drunk and like just like making stupid decisions. Like that was one of the fun parts of Until Dawn, and it was like, but you know, obviously they're gonna keep making them because they keep it's like the beat the dead horse that keeps shitting on money thing. It's like they're gonna keep selling, so they're gonna keep making them. But it's like at what point is it like, all right, we know these games aren't scary, so stop trying to overplay this like scary part of it. Like they, I don't know, like the new one looks like they're really trying to play this whole like, uh, it's like the Salem witch era, and it's like they're really trying to do this occult kind of theme to it, and it's like
yeah,
you're gonna fill the game with a bunch of just scary noises and
and
like
jump scares.
It's jump
a cat
scares.
running,
Yeah.
Like,
cat runs
ooh,
by, and I'm like, oh, it's a cat, like
Yeah, I think scary is subjective, obviously. It's I think now, like especially with like people like Ari Aster and shit. Oh, by the way, a disclaimer. The I know the podcast is called Social Distancing and we're all quarantined and stuff, but
oh
my
wait,
living room is
did
very full.
I didn't change the name of it?
That's okay, I did. But
Oh, thank you.
uh, we are in each other's proximity constantly. Our kids go to the same daycare. We're only ever around each other. So before anybody wants to hop on their high horse about this shit, you could suck my dick. So yeah, there's that. So
I don't
anyway,
think anybody's gonna say anything, but I feel you
no,
because
not
I've
not
been
anyone.
going through
No,
that.
not anyone in this chat. I mean anyone in general. Post.
Right.
Like
Nah,
literally, like you know what I mean? Like in post, like someone's gonna be like, "Oh well, this was uploaded at this time, and look at them. They're not like before any." I'm very preemptive with this shit, so
I
fuck
feel
off,
you,
bro.
dog.
Like
Nah, I've been
you
going
know,
through that myself, like with a friend of mine who like we only ever see each other, and it's like that's not social distancing, and I'm like, I go home and I go to there, and then I go there, and then I go home.
and they go to
I'm
you, and then they go
yeah,
home. Like it's
right. Like
yeah.
it's
So yeah,
Bro, I
so
but
be
yeah.
either
hearing
So
that shit, but then a
I
lot of people be coughing. Like, yeah, yo, we're gonna go chill at what's this? That's just like, oh, okay, last night was awesome. We had fun, like, bro, but y'all coughing, bro.
why you call?
look, Papa Nor's dumbass. He's like, oh no, I'm actually
You
calling the
going to
police
jail,
right now. You're going to jail.
as you should.
Is that
Oh
a
man.
weed?
I'm calling the no, is that a cop? I'm calling the weed. But but yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, scary subjective, but I like the direction horror is going in with like, films by like Ari Aster and shit, and like the Suspiria remake from 2018 where it's like it's not so much scary imagery, but rather a lasting uncomfortable feeling. Like I
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like that. If this game is anything like that, I think that would be fantastic. I would love that. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't really have anything else to say because I haven't really watched the trailer. I don't know much about it, but from
Hmm.
my horror like e- experience, that's what I gotta say.
just take Until Dawn trailer, change all the actors, and make it about Salem Witch, and you got yourself a new game.
Yeah,
That
And
sounds
that's
like,
what's
but that doesn't sound bad inherently. That
yeah,
sounds like fun.
it's just like
it's
Until
just not
Dawn wasn't really
scary.
scary, you know. Like I want scary.
And like
But we don't know
supermassive
enough. If there
games.
was a demo, then you guys would be right about like if there was a playable demo and you were like this is not scary, then you'd have a basis. But
I'm a
all we
play it.
have is this trailer. So
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah,
got a point.
you got a
You got a
point,
point.
but also I know who's making it, and I
that's
already know
true.
what they want.
Based on the studio's history and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Yeah, that
like,
makes sense.
oh,
They're the same studio that
oh
made
no,
Killzone on PS2, so just throwing that
Yeah.
out there.
yeah,
So
like very
anyway,
important to know.
are you are
Killzone 3 was
you
lit.
but is there anything else you guys want to
No, I
say
think we
about
can move
this
on.
trailer? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, pretty short topic. So speed running and let's plays. Does it hurt the game's sales, or is it just its own niche, its own art form? Does it affect the rest of gaming as a whole? Anybody want to
I
start?
mean, I think the clear thing to say is it obviously is its own niche thing because there is literal channels and things dedicated straight to speedrunning and let's plays.
Yeah,
Hmm.
That's not something that's even like really up for debate. What the reason why I even was thinking about this is just because me personally, there's so many games that come out that have like a $60 price tag, and like I look at the game and I'm like, it looks promising, it looks like a fun game. And then like within a couple days of the game releasing, I'll see a video that's like, we just beat this game in 8 minutes, and I'm like, cool. Uh, I will like me personally, like whether the game looks good or not. Like I feel like if it's a game that's beatable in like less than an hour, I'm like, dude, I don't want to spend $60 on this game because I know that there's a way to beat it in an hour.
But are they
Like
are they beating it or are they breaking the game?
so
There's a
yeah, that's
distinction there,
that's that's a good that's a really good distinction. I personally love watching speedruns where they don't do any glitches,
Hmm.
or any like game breaking stuff. If it's just a natural like we just ran through the game, and we were able to do it in 36 minutes, and like those will be more willing to watch. But I just feel like it's still regardless. I'm just like I don't want to give them my money. I feel like I don't know. I need at least if I'm giving you $60, I need at least 40 hours, and that's just me
40?
personally. I
Most
need 40,
games,
bro.
most
I
games are
say
not
I'll
40
8.
s-
hours. I'm
I'll
telling you
settle with
right now.
25. I'll settle with 25.
I'll
Most
settle with
games,
8.
I was gonna
No
say
way.
That's
most games now are
150.
less than 12 hours long. Shit you not. 18 tops, bro. Like most games recently are 18 hours tops. Like 60. Like listen, this price thing it delves into very classist territory where it's like, you know, you have channels like fucking Wolf Den that are like, oh, Legend of Zelda shouldn't be $60. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild should be $100. So I have no problem with a $60 price tag. Like
Fuck that.
it's yeah, fuck that. I'm sorry. That's super classist and like you're only saying that because you can afford to pay that much. Not
Yeah.
everybody is a white YouTuber. You know what I mean? Um
In my dreams.
but yeah, I get that like, I get wanting the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Um but I don't know, 40 do you mean 40 hours in total? Like
Total. I'm
the
not talking about just like a like one
just the story?
playthrough.
Okay, because
Nah, nah,
you know
yeah,
how like
that's
in
impossible.
RE4 you have the main campaign, then you have Ada's story, then you have mercenaries, and you have like you know what I mean. So you mean 40 hours total? Like
Yeah, like I need at least 40 hours before I'm like there is absolutely nothing for me to do. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
I'll come back to
Like
this in
I've
like
done
3 years to play
everything.
it again.
Yeah, exactly. Like fucking Spider-Man PS4,
yeah,
solid fucking game. I played it for I'd say about 40, maybe 30 hours, and it was like there's literally nothing for me to do. I've gotten the platinum. All I'm doing at this point is swinging. And
yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, I'll still spend another 10 hours swinging because
yeah,
it's fun as hell,
yeah.
but you know,
yeah. I
like and
spent
that
80. Go ahead, go ahead,
80
go ahead.
playing
No, no, no,
Spider-Man?
not Spider-Man. Death Stranding, and I still didn't do everything.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
see,
I'm
like,
still waiting
but
for
that's
that.
because we're the type of people, like, like I'm a big fan of Skyrim too, just like you, and I feel like we're the type to just kind of spend. I'll gladly spend 6 hours doing some dumb shit in a game that's not progressing the story if it's something fun that I'm doing. Like, I haven't played it personally, but I already know once I start Witcher 3 because it's in my backlog. That
yeah,
Gwent game that's in there, I'm probably gonna spend like at least a
Bro,
day
Witcher
playing
3 is
Gwent.
crazy. I spent
yeah,
like 10, 15 hours in Witcher 3, and I was like, yeah, I'm making progress, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I was doing a side quest the entire game, just one side quest. And I spent like 10 hours doing it. And I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck was I doing?
I agree
yeah,
with
bro.
Vale
Fucking
though.
It's
yeah.
Where
worth your money.
Vale says, Papa Noir says, I want to be fed by a game. You know, yeah, totally. You want to feel like you got the most of it. And then
Yeah,
Vale's like, but I think there's also a big divide between us and speedrunners fucking games up in 40 minutes. Exactly, yeah. I feel like most speedruns at this point are people expose are first of all, you have to data mine.
yeah,
You either have to data mine or
you're just
go
running it
or
over and
or
over
go
and
like
over and over and over and over.
yeah, or go like, this rock looks weird. Maybe if I crouch here, drop an item, pick it up, I'll like remember the Skyrim glitch where you could land under Whiterun and just steal from every chest?
oh
Right,
yeah,
You remember
from
that
like right
glitch?
on the
hmm
outside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of shit is so like that was just like that was probably found by accident, but I think a lot of speedruns now in modern games is people data mining or exposing a particular glitch and then like exploiting it and then being like, "Oh, I beat fucking Star Ocean in 2 seconds." You know what I mean? Like
right.
I don't think that's the same as doing an honest run through because yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but
That's
I
a good
feel like
point.
watching someone beat
watching
a
speedruns will
game,
hurt it, definitely.
and then it's just like I haven't watched a Death Stranding playthrough because I know if I fucking watch it, I'm not buying that game. And I'm not gonna
Right,
experience it,
same.
and I haven't. And like
You have it?
it's always on YouTube. No, I don't have it. I'm waiting for a PC release.
Oh, I thought you said you have it, but you said
No,
I haven't,
I
as in
haven't
like
yet.
you
Yeah.
haven't seen a. Okay.
And they're always there, and I'm like, shit, kind of want to watch it. It's gonna ruin the game for me,
Yeah,
Or
I've
like there's
refused.
like,
I haven't seen anything Death Stranding. Like
Don't
gameplay wise, I haven't watched it. The
bro,
only
like
thing
don't
I've seen is like the trailers and
I
that's it.
literally won't buy a game if I watch a Let's Play for it.
Yeah.
and you guys saw my 1 month later that got the cosign from both Kojima's American account and his Japanese account. Not to toot my own horn, but sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
To my home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
like
tweeted me once. I forget what it was.
that's how it is for me. It's like I mean, I it's one thing for me that I find myself because I do watch a lot of speedruns and I watch a lot of let's plays, but I specifically watch old games. Like I don't find myself watching anything that's coming out now, and it's because I feel like I'm gonna ruin it for myself somehow. And it's like I'll watch a speedrun any day of any Resident Evil game, like the old school ones, or like something random like Skyrim that I've played so many hours that I'll like. There's a speedrun where the guy beat it in like an hour and a half or something, which is like crazy to me. But those make sense to me because it's something it's been a few years, it's gotten its sales, like it's not gonna matter. But like there's so many games that drop like Resident Evil 3 remake and like literally within a day it was like, yo, we already got 2 speedruns this many minutes. And that was already a short game. So then you take
Yeah,
this already short game and have somebody, run through it in even less time. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, there's no way I'm buying this now. Like, I'm already like, kind of like, dude, that's barely 20 hours in this. And then now this guy's like, oh, I beat it in fucking 20 minutes. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I'm not giving you my money.
So, dude. So, okay. So that's a good point, right? Because while speedruns might hurt a game's sales, right, it also protects the pockets of the people who might be shelling out more than they can for a specific release they've been waiting forever for. For example, like me, like I didn't get Resident Evil 3 till recently, and it was because I got it for like $40. You know what I mean? Like I was not in a position where I could pay 60 bones for that shit. And I think in my case, I don't watch speedruns. That's not like my thing. I don't watch let's plays, I don't watch speedruns. But if I was one of those people and it was between paying $60 for this game that I don't know if I'm going to like, or watching this speedrun or watching this let's play to decide, damn, maybe this is worth $60. You know what I
Right.
mean? Then that protects my pockets as a consumer. And to be honest, I'm much more concerned with the us, like the consumer, than I am with the big budget studio. I don't give a fuck if they lose bread. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah, that's
much more
true.
concerned with the person that's gonna buy this game, spend 60 fucking dollars. Like people think $60 is a lot of fucking money, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
So
one of my main points. It's like, do you know how much shit I can do with $60
yeah.
now?
So you know how many bacon, egg, and cheese in Arizona and sour straw combos I could buy with
You know how many
fucking.
Lunchables that is?
Barack
Bro.
said that's a Fendi, and
Well, it is. He's right.
and
At
yeah,
least two.
but like uh, only hold on, wait, hold on. Will said give Barack a kiss for me.
Oh, social distancing.
Social distancing. He dead
Yeah,
kissed
yo,
him.
they said no social distancing.
The cops on their way.
um, but yeah, so oh, Olevity said where demo at? I think they mean Leo. We kicked him out. He's no longer in Hearst Boy. So anyway, they
Yeah, we took his jersey, but we had to burn it
but no, he just couldn't join us today. But
because he's a
yeah,
lazy bitch.
yeah. So does it affect the rest of gaming and shit? Like do speedruns affect gaming as a whole? I don't think so. I don't know. Exploiting a game for data mining and exploiting mistakes and oversights in a game does not affect the overall game, because that's a thing most players aren't going to experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but for me, seeing it on YouTube and thinking about a game, like I've seen so much like Doom Eternal stuff, and I was like, damn, but I
Hmm.
really want to play this game, and I could see someone play it right now, and I don't have to live through it. But I'm like, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. No, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm very particular because I've had PS4 since I've gotten every console on launch. And there's been so many times, especially at the beginning of a console's life, where I found myself buying like everything. Like I bought games just because they
Yo,
were coming out.
remember when PS4 like first came out? Like the first 2 years, me and boy, like if a game
Bought
came out of the
everything
store, we bought it. Remember like
instantly.
E3, they were like Entwined, a beautiful game about a fish
Yo,
and a
we bought that
dragon.
shit
I
three
was
three.
like, yo, that game is available right now. I'm buying it because I got nothing else to play.
yeah,
And it was
Bro,
like it got to a point where I had to like kind of stop myself from buying so many games because it's like I have like if I go to my PlayStation library, like more than 45 to 50% of that library is either
is
not
backlog.
touched or is
Yeah,
backlog, or it's like I
yo,
either
have you
played it
seen my
once or I haven't played
PC,
it at all.
bro? Like,
And it's like for me it became a thing where it's like I need to start buying games smart instead of buying
yeah,
just whatever. And it was like of course that's something that's probably obvious to some people, but it wasn't to me at one point.
dude. Yeah,
yo,
one of
what
my
And
New
like
Year's
games?
resolutions was beat every game I buy and don't buy a new game until I beat that one. And
yeah,
I
that's
failed.
something I've been
I
trying
failed
to do.
miserably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I failed
Failed
too.
miserably.
I've said that to myself
because
before.
sometimes
I
the
was
game's
like,
on
nope.
sale. Alien
Yo, bro.
Isolation is two
Hey,
dollars right now.
hey, listen.
Yeah,
Shit, I don't know, $2. It's a good game.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I
But
played
yeah,
it
so
already, but I might play it
yeah,
again.
yeah.
yeah,
So I just feel like for me, I keep my watching of speedruns and let's plays to shit that I've either already played or like just old games that I never got to play, just because I don't want to spoil things for myself. Or like Ronnie was saying, I'm just less. I'm if once I watch gameplay of a new game, even if it's something I'm excited for, unless it's something like multiplayer, because those things usually don't count because like if all your
Yeah,
homies get it, you're gonna get it. But if it's like a cool single player experience that I watch on Twitch or something like that, I will delay buying the game at least a little while because I'm like, all right, like I feel like I've gotten a taste of it, so I'm like, okay, I can chill. Let me keep playing what I'm playing now, and then if it ever goes on sale, I'll buy it. And then if I do that to 10 games, I'll maybe buy three of them, and the rest I just never buy. And then I'm like a year later looking at games like what was the game on Xbox? The only good game they had, Sunset Overdrive.
It's the only good game.
Sunset Overdrive,
It's
Forza
funny because I knew
4.
exactly what you were talking about. I was
Um,
like, yeah, Sunset Overdrive.
yeah, I mean they only
Yeah,
had like, was that even launched? I don't know if that was launch game,
that
but
was definitely not launch. I don't think so. But it was one
yeah,
of those
I
things where it
bought you
was
a
like,
Sunset Overdrive for your birthday because your mom got you an Xbox.
yeah,
Your mom
Oh
got you an
yeah.
Xbox. She was like, "Yo, I got him an Xbox. Like, what you think?" And I was like,
why?
I was like, "Can you return it or something?" And then she was like, "I've already wrapped it and everything, so no." And I was like, "All right."
Nah, I was
Can you
appreciative,
return
but
it?
I was like,
She was like,
"Well, thanks,
Get him a
mom."
game for it." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get him a game for it."
So
I
it
was
was
like, "He's not gonna
perfect
like it."
because I never I played it. I think I played it twice maybe.
Shit, your mom gonna watch
And I
this.
never played it. Yeah, she's gonna watch it. She's never gonna buy me something again. But it's fine. I'm an adult now. But she got me the Xbox. You got me the game. I played it twice. Never played it again. And then because I knew what it was like, I was like, okay, cool. Let me watch. So I watched like 3, 4 videos of people playing it, and I went on Twitch of people playing it now. And I was like, cool. Like I'm watching this. This is a good game. I could very much play this shit right now if I wanted to, but I won't because I just watched this Let's Play and I've been watching people play it. So I'm like, okay, like I'm good. And for me, it's like if a million people do that, then that's gonna like hurt
Yeah.
a game
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah. I
it
But
mean,
has to have some sort of
yeah.
effect. I don't know.
But
I played
it definitely will. Like it will for sure have an effect. Like definitely. I'm I mean for me personally, I'm just more concerned with the person that's gonna save $60 that they you know what I mean? That they weren't sure about
I heard.
as opposed to this giant AAA company. You know
yeah, that's true. That
that
makes sense.
doesn't make as many millions as they were gonna make. You know?
Yeah, I'm as there's certain games that like I'll play, but like I consider myself to be very anti AAA to an
Y-
extent.
yeah.
I
Oh,
Like
heard.
I hate Ubisoft. I hate EA. I hate all of them. Like they're so annoying. Like
you're a,
All we do is
you're
play Siege and Call of
a
Duty,
gaming
bro.
hipster. You're you're a
I'm
gaming
not a gaming
yuppie.
hipster.
You only buy $1 games on Steam.
Yeah, I
Bro,
only
you get
buy the game if the developer himself is like selling it to me in front of
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
yeah.
No
At a
studio larger
convention
than
only.
five
No,
people.
that's Leo actually. That's not me.
I only play demo discs. No, Ronnie, he's playing RE4, which looks fantastic on. I don't know. Well, maybe not fantastic, but it held up really fucking well. This Switch port is actually pretty impressive.
I'm telling you right now, bro. 4K textures on PC.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
the Ultimate Edition, like the PC best port of this
Bro,
game,
that shit
easy.
look crazy.
Yeah, it does look like the 4K textures look crazy. But speaking of textures, I think it's time to move on to our final topic.
yeah.
Um,
Textures. What are they?
art style in fighting games and its importance. So basically, like art direction for games in the '90s and the 2000s, like sprite work and shit,
Yeah, you want me to give a little quick
versus
like
yeah.
little rundown? So basically, I brought this up to Ronnie a couple days ago when we were talking, and I was just saying that like there's games like I was looking at the art style and the art direction that companies like Capcom and SNK took back in the 90s and like the early 2000s, and like the care that they put into it
Hmm.
and how that translated into just like a better game. I feel like I was comparing like 90s and 2000s Capcom to 2010s Capcom where it's like games like Street Fighter 5 and MVCI that kind of look like garbage. I don't I mean whether or not Street Fighter 5 looks like garbage is a bit subjective. I think it always kind of has, and that's just my personal opinion, but I feel
Yeah,
like games like that and games like Dead or Alive 6 where they kind of go with this like less of real art and more of like realism and just more like they care more about just looking high quality versus having like an art style to it. I feel like I was looking at games like Marvel's Capcom 1, Capcom vs SNK 2, or even like what was the other one that
uh, Vale. While you while you think this about this, Vale said pixel art is super expensive, but Capcom dropped the ball with the 3D models. Yeah, they do
Yeah,
not look good at all.
exactly. I feel like they when they went the direction of 3D models, it kind of just takes a lot of the soul out of the games. I mean, of course, from a FGC's tournament standpoint, people are always going to play the games. There's always going to be,
It
a
doesn't
game
matter
to
what the game
play.
really looks like. I mean,
But
to a certain
for me,
extent.
I've always up until we started this Hearst Boys thing, I've always kind of considered myself to be 50% or 65% casual fighting gamer. Couch play with friends, and it's
You
like
can't kick yet. Not
for
yet. It's
me,
after.
for me, it's
Sorry, sorry.
like
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's more important for me just that the game looks good, that the art direction looks good, like the title screen, when I'm going through the menus, when I'm picking my character, like stuff like that means more to me, and like the music, of course, than like the gameplay in a lot of aspects. And I feel like games of recent history have focused more on them being tournament viable than being good games.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
it's like the barrier for entry with Street Fighter is so low. Like
right,
there's like next to no defensive options in the game at all because it makes for better spectacle for viewers. And like like I understand like the with Street Fighter is a special case in particular because like 5 is so esports. It's so esports that it's like
so esports.
it's kind of painful to like even consider it. But but sorry, Barack almost shit bricks just now.
For me, like the
But
last game
yeah.
to really do it like was four. Four was the last one to kind of it. They did the 3D model thing. That was the first one to kind of bring that in. But they still, I feel like because it was like um a risk for them, they put a lot more care and focus into the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
they kept dropping a million different versions, and it wasn't until Ultra that we finally got Street Fighter 4 what it was meant to be. But like
Yeah.
they still like that whole brush paint style that they had to their moves and
Yeah.
like the character select screen and all that, like those little details, that was like what made the game really good for me personally. And
Yeah.
like it just feels like that was the last time that they really tried
Yeah.
um to really care like that. The only time I ever see it happen is like the last game I've seen that came out of recent history that they really put that much care into it was, I feel like, Skullgirls.
Uh-huh.
Like Skullgirls, if you look at the menu, the music, everything about it is just so polished and so like more more about the image and like the aesthetic of it than the actual game itself.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like fighting games ain't what they used to be.
Nah, yeah, of course, man. And it's I mean, it's gotten to a point where like, okay, see, I, I'm never gonna side with the big developer because I'm not a developer and I'm not gonna cape for millionaires. Like people that do that are so pathetic. Like I don't like that shit. But I think that when it comes to like fighting games in particular, it's like, okay, well, do you go the Street Fighter 5 route and cater to audiences only? You know what I mean? And make it a spectacle for audiences and make it fun for them to watch, but not necessarily fair for the professionals. Or do you go the Smash route and have people fucking hate fucking Hungry Box because Puff is such a defensive character and so slow that it's literally quite literally not fun to watch. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, so like you gotta find a way to ride the middle somehow. And I think like a lot of older games kind of unbeknownst to them kind of got this right. Like a lot like Garou Mark of the Wolves. First of all, in
Ah,
my
so good.
dude, in my correct me if I'm wrong, but that might be the only game that might be the longest distance, not the longest time between a game coming out and a patch coming out for it. I have never seen a fighting game that old get a patch this year or last year, whenever it got
Right.
the not a patch, but like an update, a netcode
Like a port?
update. No, no, because they improved the netcode for it for
Oh,
multiplayer
right, 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 right.
very recently, and and it's an SNK game, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah, yeah.
SNK. That was basically their take on like Third Strike, I think, right? Sort of.
Yeah, and that game is fantastic, and it holds up
So
really well. I mean, the only reason I say it's fantastic is because it's the only game I went 10-0 on in a video. But otherwise, it's the only one I'm good at. But otherwise, like it holds up pretty well, and like I think there's a charm, uh, like there's a charm to sprite work that you can't pull off with 3D models because Street Fighter 5 looked weird from the jump. It
Yeah.
still looks weird. You know what I mean? But you pop in like SNK versus Capcom 2, or you pop in Mark of the Wolves, and like them sprites fucking bouncing and those textures, like those bits like moving on screen, like they are never gonna lose their charm. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
you
I
can make
agree.
it, you can make a 2D fighter sprite work right now in 2020. I'm buying that shit. Like obviously, like it's balance is important. Vale said the illusion of balance is more important than actual balance.
I
Um,
agree.
uh, I mean, yeah, yeah. I think making it looking like you know what you're doing is often enough. Oh, you about to get fucked up, bro. You better get out of there. Wow. Mid animation. Okay, sorry, but yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild that I don't know. For me in particular, like art style definitely matters, and if you showed me two games and like brand new that I've never played before, and one was like 3D models and the other was sprite work, I'd probably want to play the sprite one more. But that's just my personal take. I just feel like especially because like sprites are gonna look like sprites no matter what, whereas 3D
Right.
models are gonna get outdated and like look funky after a while. You know?
Yeah, that's one of the things I was gonna bring up, where it's like as technology advances, we continue to move forward with technology, but it's like, you know, look at give me a 3D any 3D model game that was came out in from 2002 to
Virtual Fighter,
2010.
Virtual
And they
Fighter 3 or 4.
in this for the sake of technological advancement, they go those routes, and then in hindsight, they're not good. You know,
Yeah,
I
no,
just feel like, but when you look at kind of the more stylistic choices of the '90s or just even the 2000s, when they go more of an art route instead of a technologically advanced route, I feel like it just makes for a better game as far as longevity is like concerned. I feel like, you know, Street Fighter Five is a particular case because we're living in it right now, so it's we can't really talk in hindsight. But I like to talk about. I like to think when I think about Street Fighter Five, I like to think about the first year
yeah,
because that's important to me. Is the first year simply because Capcom is known to constantly like release games, and then 5 years later we get the game that they actually wanted to release, and that's like I feel like that's totally not cool.
yeah,
Um, but because of that, I like to judge them on their first year because it's like if you ain't showing up first year, bro, I don't care what you got to show me 4 years later. It's like
yeah,
fucking what was that game, Ronnie? No Man's Sky. That now
No
it's
Man's
good,
Sky,
but
yeah.
like first year was disgusting. It's
yeah.
like, bro, like you ain't telling me nothing. Like I don't want to hear nothing. That game is trash. And as much as I'll entertain Street Fighter Five because I love Birdie, I feel like it's trash, bro. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And
Yeah, I think to not give things room to improve is a little counterintuitive. It's a little
of course,
counterproductive.
you're right. You're right.
But
I'm
but
not
if
like elitist, you know.
nah, but if a game is not great out the door, then obvious like of course no one's blaming you for being turned off by it if it's not good right away. You know,
Right. Right.
like that makes sense. It makes sense for you to be like, well, I don't remember this game being good, so fuck this game. You
Right.
know, and like they want to like Ultra Street because like we all love Ultra.
Yeah,
We all
I
love
love Ultra,
we love Ultra Street Fighter
but
4.
but I
That's
loved 4.
7 years later. You know what I mean?
I loved Vanilla though. Me personally, I'm a Sagat player, so I love Vanilla 4 because he had that crouching heavy punch, and that was
Yeah.
like the whole game. The whole game
I'm
was that
a
crouching heavy punch.
man. I'm a Guile player, so I'm right there with you, man. Guile was fucking broken in vanilla.
Like
His
Vanilla
flash kick was
4
going
was
through anything,
fire.
anything.
Vanilla 4 was so fun, and it was like, I
It
was
was
a
a
little
return to form,
frustrated.
I think.
Yeah, it was. I was a little frustrated personally because like at the time that that came out, I had just finally in the 8 years I spent playing it, I finally got good at Marvel 2. And like as soon as I got good at
Yeah,
Marvel 2 and I was playing like a totally different kind of game, then fucking 4 drops and I'm like, cool. I gotta slow down my entire thinking and change the game I'm playing because now I'm playing Street Fighter again.
Yeah.
But it was still like really refreshing. The music was really good. The announcer was just as crazy and loud as he is now, and it was like those little things was like, okay, I remember this being a good game even when it first dropped on 360, and I was like, wow, there's only
yeah.
like how many characters was it? Like 10 or 12? It wasn't
It
even
was
that many
no, it was
characters.
8. It was
8,
8
right, right.
because
And I was
it was
fine. I
like
was like, wow, this is cool.
it was
You know?
like a two. It was like a the unofficial 2 reboot. Vanilla 4, where like all the new like you had to unlock fucking everybody, dude. That shit was crazy.
That was
You
the first
know?
time they dropped all the new people, like Sea
Yeah.
Viper and Rufus and all that. Like that was a cool time. And it's like I compare that to 5 dropping, and I'm like, okay, first year 5 had the same amount of like characters, I guess, in a sense, but it was so much that wasn't there. Like there was so much that was missing that 4 when it first dropped had as far as just like the style of it, where it was like I was okay in 4 being able to just keep playing these same 8 characters or the same shit because at least it was a good looking game, was polished enough at the time. And then 5 drops and it's like it feels like 30% of a game in every aspect. It's like it looks bad. like the characters, like when they're loading in the screen, it was like they're clipping, and it was like
Yeah.
just like a badly made game. And like, of course now it's good. A few like years later now it's fine. They've upped it up a lot, and like there's so many characters, but I just can't help but think about those times and think about how long it took them to kind of take the community's uh like critique and just not even listen. Like I feel like it took them years to actually listen to what people were saying. They were just like riding this dead horse. Um, so I don't know. I just wish that we would get Capcom one time, the
Yeah.
OG Japan team, to make me one proper 2D sprite fighter just for
Oh
old
yeah.
time's sake. Like another Capcom fighting game, like Fighting Evolution. If they were to make a new one like that, but with like with all just Capcom characters, I don't need Marvel. I don't need anybody. No guests. Just make
Yeah.
me a proper Capcom fighter sprites in 2020. I feel like it'll sell crazy. It'll be like
Yeah.
beautiful.
You could go. People have been clamoring for Darkstalkers, man. Make a new Darkstalkers.
Yo,
Make it
seriously.
make it sprite work, and that's it. That's all you need, and make it balanced and fair and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's all you fucking
So
need. But we are nearing the end of our live podcast here. So, is there any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to say?
um so just to wrap things up real quick, fuck LTG.
That goes without saying, I think.
Fuck LTG. Let's plays are cool. Supermassive is not scary. And I miss 90s Capcom, even though I was a baby, but I miss 90s Capcom and I miss 90s fighting games. And
Yeah,
please make me a Capcom game. Remake Capcom Fighting Evolution with all like your new people. I want to see Dante and Chris Redfield and like in an actual 2D like setting. That would be dope.
that'd be fucking sick. Yeah.
Ronnie, any last points?
Um, yeah. I don't know. I think sprites were always cool. I think um I think the comment that someone made was right that do you remember how many times that same Morgan sprite was used?
That was fail. Yeah.
Like you'll see the same shit over and over and over. I think just like two things why my opinion is the way it is just like that comparison of animations between like Sakura's Street Fighter 4 and Sakura's Street Fighter 5, and like how like in Street Fighter 4 like she'll put her leg a certain way to like weigh it, and like she'll put her hand on the floor, as opposed to like Street Fighter 5 where like she'll just like kind of be suspended in
None of
midair and
that.
do the kick. And I
Yeah.
think when we think about like that art direction and like that amount of work that really goes into like making these characters, like I think that's what we really do remember from the 90s, like why it's so important. Like Street Fighter 5, I don't know, like it looks, I don't know, realistic or whatever, but it doesn't have like that same like soul as like Street Fighter 4 does, where like it really knows like exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, me and Boy were talking about like the characters like screen between like 2 and 3, and then like Infinite, and how like for a while there was like one extra character on the red side, and I think it was like a Winter
Oh yeah,
Soldier or something, right?
they split the middle of the character select screen down red and blue, Capcom blue and Marvel red, obviously. But then they had less Capcom characters than Marvel. So rather than change it to make it look good, they literally just put Winter Soldier on the Capcom side, left them red. So you just see all these blue sprites, and then one red dude at the bottom, and then everything else going that way is all red. And I'm like, there was no way that there was nothing else you guys could have did with
Yeah,
that.
it's just like
It's the
But
little things. It's
that's a
definitely the
whole
little things.
can of worms, because Marvel Infinite was the first game, the first one that they made not in Japan. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah,
but
the
yeah,
focus there was weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
All
get
right.
what they were doing,
Knowing
but
knowing what your game is when you like knowing what your game is as you're making it versus before you make it is just two very different experiences. And I think Capcom doesn't know what they are anymore. So they just kind of try to be whatever it is we want them to be, which is fine, I guess. But I want to know what Street Fighter 5 is going to look like in 10 years.
yeah,
And that's all I got to say about that. Before we go, real quick, everybody recommend a game. I feel like that's a cool closing segment.
everyone recommend a game. What the fuck?
I like
I
that.
got
We
you
did
right
that
now.
like the last 2 weeks. That
Call
was
I
of
got
cool.
you right
Duty.
now. There's a trailer out right now. There's a trailer out right now. I
It's like,
think the game is out already, but oh my god, it is called SnowRunner. It is Death Stranding in trucks. based on the
Okay.
trailer, it's fucking Death Stranding in off-road snow 18-wheelers. It's
Oh shit! I'm looking at
look,
it now.
listen, the concept sounds ridiculous
It
as
sounds
fuck,
weird, but I'm
and
trying to see
I've
it.
I've seen the trailer for this. Watch, literally just Google. It's like a minute and a half. Just Google SnowRunner trailer, and you're like, is this a Death Stranding parody? No. Like, did someone write a SNL skit with just Death Stranding with trucks? No, it's literally Death Stranding with trucks. It's fantastic. Well, it looks fantastic, and like the sound, like the fucking soundtrack, is so like, it's so dramatic. It's just trucks in the snow. Like it's fucking good, and I want to play it so bad, and I want people to play it with me. So that's the game I'm recommending, even though I've never played it.
Jesus Christ!
Okay.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yo,
trying to think.
Will said it, he want to be a delivery man so bad.
Yo, it's his fucking dream, bro. Like all he wants to do is just deliver trucks. So you're running, and then you can walk, and you can like you gotta climb the rocks. It's not easy. It's
Yeah.
hard work, Ronnie, but someone's gotta
Yeah.
do it to bring
Onyx
America
said,
together.
when is the HB Animal Crossing Island tour coming? Oh shit.
I've
Yeah,
been
I want to
trying to
do
set
one of
that
these.
up.
I want to do one of these, but it's just us in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
We
all
could
our
do it.
fire.
screens. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
We could do it. All right,
But
maybe
yeah,
the week after next.
yeah. You guys got games?
I got I
Yeah.
don't know. I've been playing the same two games for like Doom Eternal, which is lit. Tell Barack I said
Hmm.
Doom Eternal. That's
Barack, Ronnie said Doom Eternal.
Champions.
Crab Champions,
Go
Barack
grab
said.
champions. I'm trying to see that.
What the fuck is this? Is
I'm
it
trying to
on
think of what else.
Switch?
Control. If
Um,
you guys haven't played Control, definitely play Control.
Doom Eternal.
It's really good. But Doom Eternal and Control.
Onikuma said uh
Hades
Hades
on
on
PC.
PC.
Alright.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like it's roguelike dungeon shit. Is it multiplayer?
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to play with people so bad.
Well, I don't want to rush you guys, but I gotta get out of here. So
Get the
No,
fuck
no
out.
worries. My
alright.
game to recommend is called Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh
It's
shit.
out on Switch.
It's
You
on
should check
Switch?
it out. Yeah, I just got KK right now. He finally came to my island, so
Nice,
I'm technically done, but I'm not done because it's just getting
Animal Crossing.
started.
You got a
So
nice island,
nice.
I'm not gonna lie.
thank
Well,
you.
I like your floors.
we
He
appreciate everyone that tuned in. Thank you guys so much. Tune in the same time next week. I hopefully will have one of two guests. Both very special. Both very deserving of the platform and exposure. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
one of two
Um,
guests. He got two
one of yeah,
kids.
yeah, one
Hmm.
of them. So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Rainey. That's Ronnie. I'm joined today by Ronnie and Bojack, and we will see you guys next week around the same time for more stuff. So thank you guys. Be sure to subscribe and everything, and yeah.
Be easy,
Alright,
everybody.
you
Stay
gotta hit the little
safe.
bell icon. Alright, bye guys.